So my name's Justin Matherson, and I'm just a regular citizen. All right. I'm not perfect. I don't pretend to be perfect, but I've worked for and with the government for over 15 years now. I grew up in the government. I grew up in the Air Force. All right. As far as waste goes, have I seen it? Every year since I got out of college. First experience says, hey, we need you guys to give us 10 drops. I'm working for Turner at the time. And we need you to charge $10,000. And we say, well, a drop's only $250. Well, they say, we got to use it or lose a budget. If you don't charge us, we don't get the budget next year. So because of this system that they have, where if they don't use the funds that are allocated towards these agencies, they lose it. They're encouraged to use up the funds that haven't been used throughout the year at the end of the fiscal year so that they're guaranteed to get the money back the next year. All right. How much sense that makes? Zero. But this is the game. And this is where we are. So as a people, we give our money away every day. But everybody I know pays taxes. We need to understand why this shit went on for so long and why it took a guy who's not a career politician to come in and straighten it out. Because it's not simple enough to just fix the issue. We need to understand who's been playing with the machine and who's been tweaking it the entire time. Don't let these guys run to another country. Don't let these guys get out of Dodge. This shit ain't over. The plane's still falling. So brace yourself for impact is what I got to say, because the bridge is burning and the rubber has finally hit the road. Now we're all in this vehicle together. And we have to remember one thing. If it goes down, we all go down. Nobody wins. There's no one winner. This is not the Squid Games. Although I feel like we're living in the Squid Games, right? I feel now like the Squid Games is a mockery of us in America. It's a simple game, right? It's a simple game, but if you lose, you die. And once you get to a certain point, everybody can get out as long as they vote together. But what do? A few greedy people manipulate the majority and they all end up dying together. Instead of all of them getting out voting together and getting rich together, they all end up dying because of their individual greed that they're focused on. So how is that any different? What scares me is what's not being said. And what's not being said is where the money went and who the people are that own the contracts. The questions we should be asking, if in fact what we're finding out is true, questions that we need to be asking are, who are these companies that were receiving all of these payments? Not just who are they? Who are the heads of these companies? Who's the CEO? Who are the board of directors? All the way up to the chairman. We need names. And we need to understand how much money they received, when they received it, and for how long. The other thing we need to understand is we need to give them a chance to explain themselves. Okay? And then after we give them a chance to explain themselves, we need to give them a chance to tell us what their payment plan is. Okay? We don't just want the savings that we receive from cutting the contract. I want a plan on how they're going to give back the money that they stole. And we need a plan immediately. On the other side of that, I need to understand, not me, this isn't a me thing. The people need to understand who inside the government was responsible. We need names, not departments, not agencies. We need names. For every contract, there's a KOTAR. Okay. Who are the KOTARs? What are their names? And we need their staff. And on top of that, we need to understand who wrote the RFP. Which people responded to the RFPs. And then we need to understand who was awarded the RFP and why. So we need a Doge to the Doge. So as the Doge starts announcing things, we need someone to go back behind them and give us even more detail, because we don't just want the shell. We need to understand how this lasted for so long. It's nice that, OPM sent an email saying, list the last 5 things you've done in the last 2 weeks. That's fine. But you know what? That needs to be extended. We need to understand what our elected officials are doing. The other thing I want to understand is, where are they? In my book, silence is an admission of guilt. So if you're not guilty, why don't I hear you? What's your plan? Because everywhere around me, the damn bridge is burning. People are panicking. And this isn't a today issue. This is an issue that's been going on for a while. So we need answers quickly. And I want to understand, how is it that this man can go in there with 5 people and find all of this when we've got hundreds, thousands of people who have been a part of it and never said anything. Now, while you're sitting at home, working while you're on the toilet, working while you're on vacation, working several jobs, we need to understand this now. Now it's time to work. Now it's time for you to get to work. Another thing I think Doge should do. Anyone who's had more than one full-time job while being a government employee, they need to be investigated. And we need to understand, how can you work 80 hours in a 40-hour work week? And we need to understand what hours you build for, and every hour that you double build, every hour needs to be given back. Because that's larceny. Anything over $1,000 is grand larceny. And that's it. The rubber has hit the road. The time is now. Okay? So I'll just recap real quick. I'm not going to go too long. We need to understand what companies, if it's a corporation, we need to understand who the board is all the way up to the chairman. What are their names? How much money have they gotten and for how long? The next thing we need from those people is we need to give them a chance to explain themselves. Let's let them give a chance, give their chance. And the second thing we need from them is a recovery plan. We need the money back. Go ahead and bring it back here. Okay, we need that back. And we need both of those immediately. On the other side of that, we need to understand the people, the government officials, the government employees that were involved, what their thought process was, who wrote the RFPs, and who signed the contracts. And then we need to understand, we need to give them a chance to give their explanation. Don't just fire them and get them out of here. Let them explain themselves. And then let them come up with a recovery plan. Because $900 for a bag of bushels that my son can make in our basement on his 3D printer is unacceptable. $90 for an ink pen is unacceptable. I'm sorry, it's unacceptable. We understand what USAID is and what they do. We don't need to talk about that. You've already put a major dent in us internationally, okay? I don't know how we're going to recover that. But that's something that we're never going to find out about. But as a people, don't get lost, okay? Don't get lost. Focus on what's going on and let's be the Doge to the Doge. All right? This is for the better, but it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt for a long time. And if corporate America follows suit to show their loyalty or in fear, then we're all, and excuse my language, we're all screwed. So those are the questions I think we should be asking. These are the questions that I feel like haven't been answered, and we need to talk about that. The last thing we need to do, everybody needs to write their elected officials, and everyone needs to copy me. I'll list my email. Copy me so I can keep track of how many people are doing it. And we need answers. The second thing, another thing, I'm just going to keep going as they come to my head. Another thing we need to know, where are the elected officials and why are they so quiet? I need to understand that. I'm going to go ahead and end here. That's my take. That's where I am with it.